My name is Maria Wielock. I am a senior category manager for fruit, veg and flowers at the supermarket chain ICA in Sweden. I'm 39 years old, have 2 kids and live in Sweden. This is my first time here, so I'm very excited. I've been with ICA for 10 years, and my current position I've been in for a couple of months, but always in fruit and veg. So I think I have the world's greatest job, and there's nothing I'd rather do than this. So I'm very passionate about this. Let's see. Now, sustainability in retail. When that word comes up, we all think about different things. It's such a broad subject, and right now it's very, very popular also. The things I'm going to focus on today are not within the social responsibility area. I'm not going to talk either about things like water and those kind of bigger issues, because I'm more focusing on things that we do more on the commercial side to share with you. For us at ICA, it all starts very much with this, which is of course organic produce. That is probably one of the biggest sustainable issues we've had, but it's now becoming more and more normalized for the Swedish customers, and I'll share with you our journey in this. Another thing that's very important for sustainability in the Swedish market is, well, that's supposed to be for packaging. We're looking very much into packaging and what is actually sustainable packaging. It all depends on who you ask. When you think you find green plastic, somebody comes and tell you, well, that's not maybe the most sustainable option. Should we go for paper? Is that more sustainable than plastic? Or should we take the plastic off totally, and what happens to the produce then? Now, the biggest sustainable issue that we face as a whole industry, I think, is waste. We all know probably that 1/3 of the food produced in the world is wasted, which is staggering numbers, and it's quite horrific if you think about it. So this is something that we all must think about, and what can we do about it? And I'll share some things that we've done as a supermarket and working together with the industry to find ways to reduce waste that might not be very traditional. Of course, this is very, very exciting, food tech, and for us here, maybe more agri-tech. What's happening within the field? How can we align with companies that are in this area, and how can we scale it up? So the span is very large, and I'm going to tell you some of the projects that we're doing in ICA. But first of all, maybe I should tell you, for those of you who don't know ICA, ICA is the market leader in food retail in Sweden. We had a turnover last year of 74 billion Swedish crowns. We have stores all over. Sweden is very long, as you know. From the farthest south to the northest north, we are the only chain that has the full coverage national. So we have 1,300 stores all over Sweden in 4 different formats. So you have the small neighborhood markets, you have the bigger supermarkets, you have even bigger supermarkets who are more into fine foods, and of course we have the hypermarkets. So we span all over the different formats, all over the Swedish map. We have actually a unique business model which we call the ICA idea. We turn 100 years this year. It's been a full year of parties. The last party is going to be next week, when all our shop owners are going to meet in Västerås, where it all started, and have a big blast. And we from head office are not really invited because it's their party. But it's been a really, really good year of celebration and celebrating this idea, which, if you look at it, what it is that every ICA owner he's independent, so he or she owns his own shop. But then they work together to get economies of scale, but still use their own local market as their area. So they become local champions, but then they have this huge organization behind them where I'm in. So using the economies in scales to get efficiency all the way to the north, which is hard for other chains to do, actually. So this is making what this does is make the ICA shop owner, it's really his own company, so he takes pride in everything he does every day, trying to satisfy the local market in the best way. It's his business, it's his bottom line, so that makes up for good business. Now, I work for ICA Sweden centrally, so we supply to the ICA stores. And fruit and veg, which is my area then, we're the biggest supplier of fruit and veg in Sweden. The thing is that we can only supply to ICA stores, but the ICA stores can buy from whomever they want. So we're kind of, we have to be the best we can be to ensure that they want to buy from us. We of course own the ICA brand, so everything private label they can only buy from us, but all the other things they can buy from other wholesalers. So this is also a good business model because it keeps us on our toes, we have to be our best every day. And we can quite quickly see when we're doing something wrong because then our sales are going down. I'm in the category management, but we also have buying and replenishment, of course, and a sourcing manager for that. So organic produce. Sweden, I mean, many of the suppliers we've been working with organic for quite some years. Sweden is kind of a forerunner, I would say, in organic. We quickly saw demand in it, but you see, in the beginning of 2000, there was quite a low. Now this is from 2012, but if we go even further back, you would see that it was down on 3-4% for some quite long time. Not very much. There is a community that's always driven it, and Sweden has been driven organic quite hard. Then you see in 2013, the Swedish authorities found too high pesticides in conventional bananas. And here we can see the impact of media, what happens, because that went very nationwide in media, and the sales of organic totally exploded for 2013 in bananas. So for that year, organic bananas ended at 25% of the total sales of bananas, going from very low numbers. So it was really, really hard to get. But it woke the awareness of the Swedish consumers, and as you can see, it started to 2014. It continued to rise, and then we had another incident, or what you want to call it. We have an NGO which is called the Swedish Society for Nature Conservation, who launched a campaign on organic produce. And they kind of targeted moms, saying, do you know what's in the organic grapes or non-conventional grapes that you feed your kids? It's a little bomb of toxicness. So that's what happened, and the whole organic produce got a boost because it was a very, very large discussion in media. So it totally exploded up through the roof. And the demand, of course, skyrocketed. And we went to our producers all over Europe saying we need more organic. But as you know, it's not always the easiest because you have to convert and it takes a long time. But we really drove for this, and we got good conversion. And we now see, you can see that it's kind of stabilizing at about 15%. And why is this? Of course, we have challenges for this. We like to say that we drove the development of organic, but then now more and more chains across Europe also want organic. So even if we're big in Sweden, we become quite small sometimes on the market. So the supply is not big enough from both the side of not being enough space, but also there are other customers to you guys who want to buy, and price becomes an issue. And the weather, as we all saw January this year, was maybe not the best for organic or for any produce at all. Organic is sensitive to different kinds of diseases, so that becomes an issue. And while this happened, we also see now organic is only one of the sustainable areas, but with all the social media that's coming on and all the communities there are, people find easy new ways to be sustainable and to differentiate what they want to have as sustainable. Food waste is becoming big, but also local produce is very much now a sustainable question in Sweden. Many of the consumers actually put an equal mark between organic and local produce, which is not true, of course, but that's how people perceive. Being in Sweden, we have not the best weather all year round, so local produce after October is a bit difficult. So that, of course, brings us some challenges. But in the future, like I will talk to later, we see that there might be an opening for this. Packaging is also something we see with our customers is really, really one of the big sustainable things that we need to do something on as a whole industry. And given that, we tried something to get rid of the packaging on organic. Is not easy in Sweden because due to legislation we have to be able to totally separate organic and conventional produce. So every organic produce has to be marked, and it should not be easy to take off the sticker or take it out, which has then resulted in that we have a lot of packaging in our organic produce. It doesn't really rhyme well with organic to have a lot of packaging because you want to address the consumer that is conscious. So we found this natural branding and thought, well, let's try this on our organic produce to get rid of some of the packaging. I don't know how much you know about it, but I saw that there is some produce over there, some melons with the laser branding. The good thing about laser is it doesn't harm the product. It doesn't affect the eating quality. It doesn't affect the shelf life, which is of course very important because we don't want to reduce shelf life. So it's a laser marking that it's totally natural also, the technique. So sometimes people can say, well, laser, is that really sustainable? But it is. It's low energy, natural technique, and it's free, of course, then from glue and everything. You take everything unnatural off the organic produce, making it a really good match. So we said that we want a strategy where we try to put this on our organic produce where possible. But it's always a question of sourcing and how to get it, because of course these machines are not widely available at the moment. Again, it enables us to reduce the packaging and then the emission of CO2, but we also have to remember that packaging is not always the enemy, and that's another issue we have to address to the consumers, that sometimes packaging is actually better for the produce in order to keep it a longer shelf life and not wasting it. So why are we not lasering more? Well, first of all, there's an issue on speed on these machines. They're still in the early stages of the era of laser. To get the produce through the machine, it takes time to laser. If you compare on how fast you can put it in plastic or put stickers on. And also, I mean, it's quite an investment to invest in these machines, so they're not widely available. But this is something we have to think about as an industry. What do we want? How do we want to move forward? Because we see this as a great opportunity to do something to get rid of the stickers, which cause problems when you clean the crates, and they clog the system, the watering system, and so on. And also to get rid of some of the plastic packaging. So this new, I mean, natural branding has been around for some time. We've seen it on primarily holidays like Christmas or Mother's Day with some hearts on the apples and so on. But so it's not really a totally new technique, but this time around we totally went viral. We've had interviews with Vietnamese TV teams coming along, and it's been all over the news. And then you can ask yourself, well, why this time around? And I think that it's mainly because of two things. We've done it as a strategy. We want to not just do it as a gimmick for a given period of time, but we really want to have it on our organic produce. Maybe not all, but where possible. That's the long goal of the thing. And also, of course, timing. Now there's social media around, so it's easy to get the word out. We started with the organic avocados you see over there. And our first batches and tests went very well, but then we had the problem that the more dark the avocado and the more skin was bubbly, you couldn't really see the marking, or the consumer put it in a bag, so the cashier lady couldn't see the marking, which of course resulted in the store not getting paid for the avocado, and that's not good. So the stores didn't want them. So we had to say, well, this one didn't work out, unfortunately, but trial and error. Sweet potatoes is a product. Our organic sweet potatoes are our laser mark today, and that works really well. Actually, it's easy visible, and it looks really nice actually together with the potato. We also do a butternut squash, also very nice. And during the summer period, we had some of our melons from Spain. I think it was watermelon and honeydew melon that we did in this way, and that was also very well received. We couldn't do the whole volume, and that is due to speed, because in the summertime, of course, we sell a lot of melons, and the speed of the machine is not really, like I said, up to date. So yeah, a lot of good press, which is good for the industry as well. Now, everything cannot be lasered, like I said, and it shouldn't be. So we try to go from plastic to paper where possible. This is some of the examples what we did during the year. We've done a total remake of all our tomato packaging, and when we did this, because we wanted to update the design, it wasn't really saying anything, so we said let's do a redesign of all our tomatoes, and while doing this, let's look at the packaging to see what we can do. So we went to our supplier and said, hey, we want to change the plastic crate for a paper crate, and again, this is not industrial standard, so we met kind of, why do you want to do this? And we said, well, it's because of these and these. Yeah, but it's more expensive. It's 5 euro cents more for that. Yes, but this is a part of a bigger strategy. Yeah, but all our machines, the standard machine is for plastic crates. So this is where we as a forerunner see that we have to, in the industry, be open to try new things. Now we, of course, when we had explained why we wanted to do it, now we're doing it, and it's really, really going well. Also, the good thing about paper, of course, I don't know if you can see it, but you have so much more space to communicate on, which also made the tomato category lift. So we have a 6% increase in the first months when we just changed the packaging of the same kind of tomatoes, because you have so much more space to talk about the produce. We have these little round circles saying how sweet it is, and on the back you can really describe the difference between a pearl tomato, a baby plum tomato, and an ordinary cherry tomato. So that was kind of two flies in one hit, or whatever you call it. So does this give an effect, you would ask? Does it, I mean, how much just changing a plastic crate? Well, actually, we've done 10 products where we change from plastic crates to paper or having a top seal, and that is giving us an estimated 40-ton saving of plastic in 10 products in one supermarket chain in Sweden. Just to give you a view of how small things can really help in the bigger picture. So we're currently redesigning a lot of our products, and we try all the time to say, okay, what can we do about packaging? And of course, this is not the only thing. We can try to top seal instead of flow pack. We want to not have stickers on the flow pack, but can we print instead, so we can get rid of one of the elements? I'd like to see more paper crates which you can put a top seal on instead of having plastic punnets with plastic. It's too much plastic. It's just, but of course, we also always have to look at what the product needs in order not to create waste in form of shelf life. That is also very important. Now, this is also something that you can discuss. There is green plastic, of course. I think everybody knows, and everybody's working with it. So it's not oil-based plastic, but you do it from sugar canes instead. Then sugar canes, it's a much less CO2 intense process while making it. It's still not biodegradable, but it's the process itself in making the green plastic. And also you don't use the oil-based plastic, which is good for the environment, of course. So we've done, I think it's 3 different packaging where we've done this today. And so what does that bring? Well, it brings a saving of about 141 tons of carbon dioxide a year, which for me as a marketing person is very abstract. I cannot relate. So I said to someone, well, can we convert it into something more tangible? And there's, well, Maria, life cycle analysis is a very difficult issue, and so on and so on, and I understand. But so please don't quote me on the next slide. But if you do one way of calculating, these 141 tons would be, according to some people, equivalent to driving a car 29 turns around the globe. Just to get you a picture, then so don't hang me, somebody's here from a life cycle analysis perspective, but if you calculate in one way, it's to try to visualize how much effect, and this is from 3 packaging, changing the packaging of 3 products. It's worth thinking of, huh? So, that was about packaging. Now let's get to the big problem, which is waste. Again, 1/3 of everything produced in the world is wasted, either at the producer or at the warehouse or in the store. But actually, most of it is at home. It's in Sweden. It's 70% of all waste is done at the consumer's house. We buy too much. We throw it away without tasting it. There are so many things that the consumer needs to do. So what we've done a small initiative from our side. It started as a small initiative that I want to share with you. It's something that we're very proud of, and yeah, should I?
This is a story about great tasting fruit, and specifically about the fruit that is wasted because of small imperfections. Fruit that is either seen as too mature or believed to have the wrong shape, color, or size. In the food industry, every 3rd kilo of cultivated, consumable fruit is actually wasted in this way, even though these variations do not impair the quality of the food. Instead of wasting delicious, great-tasting fruit, ICA decided to rescue it and utilize its full potential. The end result was 3 different fruit juices made from rescued fruit. We created a design that communicates both the great taste and the whole idea behind the juice. The goal was to rescue 667 kilos of fruit per month, or 8,000 kilos per year. These yearly expectations were soon exceeded. From May to September, the monthly quantity of rescued fruit instead amounted to 2,000 kilograms per month. In the end of the year, the volume of rescued fruit was 3 times higher than expected. In addition, it also made great business, generating revenues of 27% above sales targets.
So today, year to date, we started in the beginning of last year, and the year to date we've rescued 55 tons of apples and pears. Now the good thing here is that it's a triangular collaboration. So we use the waste that's from our depot. We had a couple of weeks ago, we had so much organic Reddelicious that was not sellable because it had damages from hail. So it was nothing wrong with it, but it was such a huge amount, which now has gone to this rescued fruits, and we're making a Christmas drink out of it. The thing, we were approached by this small local entrepreneur in Sweden, in Helsingborg, where I'm located, and they were students, so they were doing this as a student project, saying, hey, we see all this waste going on, and it started very small scale. They had their own juicing machines. And then they moved into a store who had a kitchen, and they did it there. But teaming up with us, this is where we can see where we can make a difference. We enabled them to scale up. They now have a small industrial kitchen with real machines, and they can have a capacity of making 3,000 bottles a day. And also teaming up with this small local entrepreneur, we gave them a bill saying ICA will buy from you. They could go to the bank, get a loan, and so we are in the process. It's really something that we try to do is find local entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in the business and see how can we take the initiative and scale it up together. So they're now selling under their own brand to 70% of their sales is actually going to restaurants, cafes, and so on. And some is going to us. And the juice that we are selling is only from our own depots or from stores. So the stores in south of Sweden, they also collect the waste. And then the rescued fruits, as they're called, they come and pick the waste up and make juice out of it. It's really, now the only problem is you don't know when you're going to have waste. So the supply is quite going up and down, and we have to find a way to, you don't want to, of course, have too much capital, but you don't have to, it's difficult when you only have 3,000 bottles at a time because all the 1,300 stores want to buy it. So it's good success, of course, but it's also a challenge. Now, this is our quite a new collaboration which we have. Of course, taking care of waste is good, but when you can turn the waste into something circular, I think it's almost even better. So what we do, Sweden is a potato-loving country as well as Holland. We eat a lot of potatoes. That also means, of course, that and organic potatoes is quite big, because it's one of those products that this Nature Society has said that if you're going to eat organic, you should eat potatoes because they tend to absorb a lot of chemicals. So organic potatoes is big in Sweden. But that also means that it becomes quite a lot of waste because it's prone to different diseases, like, organic potatoes. So we have quite some waste, and we're thinking, okay, what can we do with this? And then we were approached by a small company, an entrepreneur in the north of Sweden called Nutrient, saying, hey, we want your potatoes because we have these guys, and they like to eat rotten potato. These are bugs before they become mealworms. It's not allowed in Sweden yet to eat insects. It's allowed in Denmark and in Finland. You can have insects in human foods. This is an area where Sweden actually is not in the forerun. We're quite behind. We're trying. ICA is really pushing for this because I know it's for some people, including myself, this is a bit weird. But of course, we were not going to sell them like this. You would do flour and then you would bake out of it or something. But we also know that the unsustainable production of meat cannot go on. We have to find another source of protein, and this is a great source of protein. And you can do burgers or whatever you want. But like I said, it's not yet allowed in Sweden. But the production of mealworms is going on. So we were thinking, okay, what can we do until it becomes legal in Sweden? So from the 1st of July this year, there was an EU legislation saying it's okay to do it for fish feed. So we said, oh, good. Let's give it to our private label fish. So this is something that's now starting up, which is the first real circular collaboration we have, which I find really, really interesting. And I'm proud to be a part of it because what we do is we connect the industry all together. So we have ICA as a supplier, and we then have the Nutrient do the worms, and then we connect our supplier of private label fish, and then we have a good collaboration, all three. And it's these things that we really aim to do more of. Okay, now I should have earphones. But like I said, most of the waste, the further down you come the supply chain, the more waste you have. I think producers are quite good at taking care of waste because it's money. So they find ways of getting rid of it. Either they sell it or we do some collaborations. And then in the wholesaling business, we also try to reduce waste in different ways. But we really need to go to the stores and to the consumers where a lot of the waste is. I'm going to show you some of the initiatives that we as a market leader are doing. Just take a time. So this is a picture of one of our shops. Many of the shops have kitchens because they do caterings, and many of them are starting to do now. Every morning they do a round in the shop and they look at the best before dates and they take the food which has a dent, and then they make meals. This store is located next to the School of Economics in Lund, so they make really cheap meals for students, which would otherwise be waste. So it's a really, really win-win situation. This is something that I've seen in the last couple of months. It's a sign saying, help us reduce unnecessary waste. Choose a date that's good enough for you. So don't go digging in the back for the one with the 10 days if you're going to eat it today. It makes sense, of course, but it's also good to have it in your face when you're standing in front of going to make the decision. It's an easy sign, but it's really reduced the waste in the stores. It's really easy, it's doable for everyone, and it's actually doing good. Social media, an excellent platform to share your sustainable initiatives. This is a store, one of many stores, who every day put together a box or many boxes for €3. And the one who calls first on Instagram, they get to buy it. So for €3, I mean, you can see there are 2 heads of broccoli, there's cauliflower, there's beetroots. It's a lot for €3. And there's nothing wrong with it, except that it's a bit dented, or you have to maybe cut something of the pepper, but still. And this is spreading really, really a lot too. And it gives the store goodwill. It gives it, of course, satisfied customers. So again, a win-win. This is also something that's done a lot in the summertime. There you see our rescued fruit bottles, but also, why throw away the whole thing if it's just a part of it that's not good? So cutting off from the melons now in the fall, use the root vegetables, so cabbage. You don't have to throw the whole thing away if it's not good. Split it in half and then sell the half. And often, actually, this is more consumer value, because there are so many that don't want to buy too much to bring home because it becomes waste at their house. And Sweden is also has the highest amount of single households, where 40% of the households in Sweden are single households. It's a bit depressing, but that's true. So we really need to think about that market as well. How can we satisfy those customers? And this is an excellent way. And if you slice it even further, put it on a crate with some blueberries, then nobody would know that it was waste in the first time. You can actually have a premium price, and I mean, make money out of it. Except for this, we also have our webpage, ica.se. I'm not going to show that because it's all in Swedish. But we have a school actually for the consumer on how to be more sustainable. We teach them things they should know, like please smell the food before you throw it away. You can even taste a bit of the milk and just spit it out if it's sour. Don't just go by the dates. We teach them how to make lunch boxes out of leftovers, how to make, So there's a lot of things going on the webpage as well. Now, stepping into the future, I think the digitalization of farming is not as far ahead as it is in other industries. We haven't seen the iPhone on production yet, if you understand what I mean. The paradigm shift has not really yet happened. Of course, there is. We have digitalization in our monitoring and in the production lines, but the next step is not really here yet. And this is something that we find very interesting. Not bearing in mind also that local produce in Sweden is really growing, but we don't really have the natural parameters for it, so to say. There are a lot of initiatives going around, and we're being approached by a lot of exciting small companies who want to try hydroponics with LED lighting in different kind of ways. Now, this, of course, would, if you find a good way of doing this, you would you create a microclimate that doesn't need the sun. It's independent of the weather, so we will not be in January not having spinach because the weather has gone. So there are so many interesting things happening here. So we really want to team up the whole industry and these local entrepreneurs to try to find how can we scale up this and make sourcing for Swedish produce all year round. It's a maybe utopia, but there are some products that might be possible to do this in, and it's coming, and it's really, really exciting. Let me see, time-wise. Yep. So I want to convey to you that we are really committed to sustainable issues, and this is something that we really enjoy working with, myself and my team, and we want to drive the change together with the industry to find new ways of being more sustainable, because we have to stop the waste. We cannot throw away so much food, and we need to use less plastic, but we need to do it together. So I want to share with you today to give you some ideas of what we're doing and what our needs are going forward, and to get the whole industry to work together, because I think it's important to realize that, okay, changing 10 SKUs packaging actually amounts to 40 tons of plastic. If everybody could do the same journey, we could really reduce. And these 29 spins around the globe, which are scientifically mounted, it's actually, but it shows something, that small changes in 3 different plastics can do something. And we're facing, there is new technology at hand that we need to embrace and really do something with as an industry. So I hopefully have given you some ideas about what we do, and I want to thank you all for listening.